Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here. We're back with another video. Now, in this video, guys, we shall be talking about something completely different to what I've been talking about in the last couple videos. And this is a video that I've recently, or a topic that I've recently wanted to been discussing, because I recently have been rewatching the Total Drama series, and Total Drama is supposed to get 2 new seasons. Now, I've already talked about this topic before, but now looking at everything and how it is, I really want to discuss it now. So in Total Drama, there was a specific couple in season 3 that got started due to a love triangle, and that is Duncan and Gwen. Now, Duncan and Gwen are positively my favorite relationship from Total Drama, so I may be a bit biased here. But looking at it, was that relationship truly toxic, or did it just get toxic when Allstars came out? Because looking at Total Drama Island, yes, they were on opposite teams, but you could see that they had a friendlyship connection and that they, had the same type of interest, so they had a very good possibility of becoming a couple. But Duncan was interested in Courtney at the time, and Gwen was interested in Trent. So they both went their separate ways. Then action came, and then Gwen picked Duncan on her team, and then you can kind of see how they're growing closer with how Gwen almost tripped and then Duncan caught her. Trent got jealous. And then later on in the season, when Gwen gets voted off, Duncan's like, hey, no, you shouldn't vote out Gwen, you should take me. As a kind of a joke type of thing, and Chef almost actually eliminated him, but Gwen was like, you're not getting off that easy, Duncan. And then we had the moment where Gwen came on the Aftermath show, and she basically had to say that her and Duncan were just friends, because at the time, they were just friends. Duncan was still interested in Courtney, and Gwen was just getting over the breakup with Trent. Then came the Aftermath Manhunt, the 1-hour special. Duncan and Courtney ended up getting back together at the end of the show, at the end of the Aftermath Manhunt episode. And they did play a clip where you can see Gwen is interested in Duncan, and Gwen always had, I just want to say this, Gwen has always had a thing for Duncan, and Duncan has always had a thing for Gwen. They just never really did anything because they were interested in other people at the time. Then came World Tour. First episode, Duncan gets tired of Gwen and Courtney arguing about how they should get down from the pyramid. He quits the show. And I just want to say this. He quits the show, and I'm pretty sure he got tired of Courtney's nagging. So at the time, Duncan and Courtney are broken up. Duncan and Courtney are broken up by the time Duncan quits the show. And over the next few episodes, you see Courtney mentioning Duncan and how she can't do this because Duncan was a freak. Duncan is not her boyfriend at the time. Duncan never said he was her boyfriend at the time. Obviously, Duncan, they were doing like a whole skit where they were trying to find Duncan and where was he, and it turns out he actually ended up in England, because when he came back, and I just want to say also, during those few stints, there was moments of time where Gwen was seeing Duncan, and Gwen was thinking that Duncan was there. I remember there was the episode where they were in Chris's hometown, and they were rowing, and then Gwen points out and thought it was Duncan. And Courtney's like, why did Gwen see it as well? And then you can kind of see how this is going. This is going to turn into when Duncan comes back, he's going to have to figure out his feelings. But the one biggest thing of the reason why I say Duncan and Courtney were never together in season 3, or they never got back together in season 3, is when Duncan came back. Because Gwen was the one that pulled off the cover to reveal that they had captured Duncan. So I took that interesting as note. But something else I also found interesting is that when Courtney, who, I just want to say this, Courtney, for the amount of time that they shown on World Tour, was missing Duncan. The minute he comes back, chewing him out, going at him for something that she got mad at him for leaving like that. Duncan doesn't sing. And Duncan was 2 things. he didn't want to do the reprise reprise, which is the second song after he already said no to the first song in the first episode. And he was tired of Gwen and Courtney arguing. He was tired of. I'm pretty sure he was tired of hearing Courtney's voice at that point. So him coming back and immediately getting yelled at by Courtney kind of didn't make it seem like they were together. And then Courtney tries to put on a safe face like, "Oh, I just missed you, you big lug," And then the one thing I keep in mind before the relationship between Duncan and Gwen actually started, Duncan says, "Every time I ran from the cops, I thought of you." And if he had his eyes closed, he would have been talking about Courtney. But he was dead straight looking at Gwen when he said this. Later on, Gwen is in the the communal, or the I forgot what it's called, and then Duncan walks in, and that's where they share their first kiss. And Duncan and Gwen after that, they were just a couple where it was safe to say that it was very different. I very much liked it, considering they have similar interests. They have similar things that they like in common, and they have similar personalities. Duncan and Courtney just worked for a good period of time, and then I got tired of Courtney. She gave Duncan a 50-page letter on everything that's his fault. Nobody's gonna be perfect. Gwen knows that. Gwen knows Duncan's not perfect. Gwen was alright with that. Then came the episode, or the season, that I will not talk about in this relationship, because Allstars lost every credibility for every character that they ruined during the season. Duncan, Gwen, Courtney, whoever you want. Allstars ruined so many characters in that. So I'm not even getting to the Allstars part of how they break up, because the way they broke him up was just completely stupid. Duncan was obsessing about Gwen. Duncan was obsessing about Courtney, and Gwen was obsessing about Courtney as well. Gwen got tired of it, broke up with Duncan. If I had to be honest, in terms of my actually honest opinion, Gwen and Duncan should still be a thing. If it wasn't for Allstars, Gwen and Duncan would still be a thing, and I feel like they would still be going on with a very good relationship had it not been for Allstars. And yeah, because I just love the way those two interacted with each other from season 1 from season 1 to season 2. I just loved the way they interacted with each other, and then season 3 they finally became together, getting rid of Courtney, and Courtney focusing most of her time to get rid of them. Meanwhile, if it wasn't for Courtney trying to get rid of Gwen, I'm pretty sure Gwen would have been trying to focus on the game. Duncan was still focusing on the game. And I'm going to say this, breakups happen, but the way Duncan and Courtney's breakup happened, you gotta be honest, yes, Courtney has a right to be mad because she trusted Gwen, but you gotta get over it. You gotta honestly get over it. So, I just want to offer my opinion on this. I feel like Duncan and Gwen were a good relationship. They were a good couple. And the way it got brought together, remember, Season 1, they both had a thing for each other. Season 2, they both had a thing for each other. They were just in two different areas. One was dating Trent, one was dating Courtney. And that's the reason why they never did anything. When Season 3 came, it worked perfectly. The way they got together was kind of messed up, but it still worked perfectly. And then Allstars just ruined it. So, in my honest opinion, Duncan and Gwen should still be a couple to this day. I'm excited for the 2 new seasons of Total Drama. I've already seen some of the cast that are just getting ready, and I hope they do a type of Revenge of the Island where they bring back some of the original cast to help out or teach the young cast in terms of the new season.